here. It's a dreary, rainy day. Feels like fall, but I feel like this time of year is such an undervalued time for crappie. If you just have little grubs and jigs, you can go to town on some crappie. And what we're going to be doing today, right now we're on this rock pile. I walked a little bit out to where I wanted to be. The reason why I'm right where I'm at, I know for a fact, because I fished this lake before by kayak, and I've marked some severe structure, like a broken tree ahead of me. There's a good rock wall right beneath us that's submerged that usually holds some fish. But all I'm going to be doing to start is just throwing this 1/16 ounce jig with a pink and chartreuse twister tail, and all I'm going to just try and do is work it over those structures and see if I can't get into some fish. We'll start right there. And what I'm going to do is work different areas, so nothing on that first cast right there. Oop. So this time I'll try towards the right along that rock wall. Oh, look at that. That's a crappie. Let's go. Dang, son, look at that. That thing absolutely went to town on that. Just absolutely crushed it. That is awesome. All right, let's try right there. Oh, got him. Crappie. Let's go. Let's freaking go, man. That is what we were looking for. Little fall crappie. Oh, poor guy. See, it's like something feeding on the surface. Those look like crappies. Yeah, I think those are crappies. Look at that. Yes. Yes. Look at that. That's freaking cool. I thought those were crappies on the surface there. This is a little paper mouth, white crappie. Beautiful fish. See that? You see those fish on the surface right there? I'm going to cast ahead of them and try and drag through where they're on the surface. See them? Oh, that was a terrible cast. Thank God that didn't hit the water. That might have spooked them. Let's try that again. A little less googany. There we go. Just slow work it back. Got him. Let's go. That's pretty cool. Little school crappie ahead of us. This is how easy it is to catch a crappie. You ready? Got him. Look at that. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. That's a nicer size crappie. I wouldn't keep them, honestly, under 10 inches just because the amount of meat that you're going to get off a fish this size isn't that great. I know they're a panfish. They are pretty good eating, to be honest with you. But if it were up to me, I keep, you know, the bigger ones that you could get a little bit of a meal off of. Short strike me on that one. I know this is the cast right here. You ready? Got him. I knew it. That's awesome. Oh, easy, buddy. Throw you over that way. And all I'm doing is just slow retrieving it. Oh, I pulled that one. slower seems to be the ticket. Low and slow seems to be what they're... If I threw a... Matter of fact, if I threw a little float on this, probably be the optimal way to target them, but I'm a sucker for just casting and retrieving like that. Like, that's cool. Maybe later in the day we might throw a float on, do a little like bobber fishing. All right, gonna try going out here. There's another piece of structure right out in front of us that I know, like a tree. Only reason I haven't been working it as much is there's a lot more hang-ups, but usually around that wood is where you're gonna find those the bigger fish, in my opinion. Keep playing with fire right now, casting over it. And the problem is I'm trying to find the right speed to work it because the water level's severely low right now. There we go. There's a fish off that wood. And you know, I'm just trying to figure out which depth I need to be working it at. That's cool. All right, I see some fish boiling right here. You see them on the surface right where I'm pointing my rod tip? I'm not sure what they're feeding on, but it's got them fired up. And fishing's like this, man, it's like cheating. I mean, you just literally got to get it in the right direction and you have something. Oh, I just missed him on that one. Look at that. This is like the freshwater version of like fish boiling. I'm so used to it being like stripers and bluefish and weak fish, not crappies. But this is still pretty cool, man. Like when they're fired up like this, man. All right, another thing, you want to be successful with this fishing, speed at which you work the bait is very key. And it varies. There's not a one speed solves all problems type fish. In my opinion, you got to kind of feel the fish out. Right now I'm kind of working it a little slower than I normally would because we've had a few cold snaps, and I think the water temp's dropped substantially enough to where it'll affect the bite. Summertime, warmer water, I am a little more aggressive in how I work these baits, but right now I'm just kind of slow rolling it along the structure. I think I might slide down a little further over because I'm starting to see some more motion on the surface over there. Got him. Man, they are just ferocious today. And nothing big yet. They're mostly that cookie cutter size, like, I don't know, my guess would be like 8 inches. I've had a few that might have been smaller than 8, but that's like the average size I'd say I'm getting right now. All right, I'm trying not to fall and roll my ankle here. Whoa. I don't know if you could tell, but these rocks are slick. I mean, absolutely slick. You take one false step and you're falling. I'm not trying to, oh man. That was a hit and a half right there and I freaking missed. Yikes, that was a good hit. Try that again. Ooh, that one's a little tighter to the rock wall, but there is a drop off right there, so I'm not too afraid. In fact, I'm gonna try going on an angle. Work over top of that structure. There it is. That's a bigger one. Let's go. Tell you what, man, I do a lot of fishing, freshwater, saltwater, brackish, and I do find the value in everything. You know, these little crappie are so much fun to catch, and you know, I know some of you saltwater guys, diehard saltwater guys, might not see it the way I see it, but everything in my opinion has seasons, and it's always fun, there we go, to get on fish. And if you're fishing the right tackle, like we're fishing a 4 foot rod with like 4 pounds, might even be 2 pound test. To me, that's a ton of fun. I mean, when these guys are as fired up as they are right now, and it's not like I'm casting miles away. I'm casting maybe 15 feet at most. Can I cast a little further? Yes, but one of the issues I find when you're fishing areas with a lot of structure and a lot of snags is the further you fish away, the longer your scope is and the less likely you are to not get snagged. So trying to keep it close, short casts. I mean, look at that. Holy moly, that guy just wanted it. Now I just gotta try and find a slab. It's one thing we haven't found just yet. Found some crappie, just haven't found the slab. Oh, and what I'm finding with these guys is, even though we're working it a little bit slower, I'm trying to give them an extra second to inhale it, because a lot of times they'll pick at the tail and you'll feel that little tap tap tap, but you don't really have them just yet because they're just still pulling at it. Like right there, I just had a tap, but I'm going to slowly work it. Oh, all right. So a lot of people ask about color. I've always been a huge fan of the pink and chartreuse, like dual color, but to be honest with you, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think some people get hung up on color rather than technique or method in which you fish the lure. I think these fish are so fired up that I could probably switch this grub right now to a different color and still catch them. But I will say, if I do make a preference, dirtier water like this, I do like brighter colors because I think they do stick out slightly better than the darker colors. On a low light day like today, where it's cloudy as can be. Oh man, jeez, that was 2 solid hits in a row. Now another thing that I factor into when I'm doing this type of fishing is weather. I do find, so a lake like this, there's no tide, so you got to go off of other, you know, factors like barometric pressure, sunlight, water temp. Those are the 3 most important in my opinion. Time of day, at least in my opinion, doesn't seem to matter. Like right now it's the middle of the day. I know guys that swear by early morning bites or late night bites, but when I say water temp, I'm talking about reading the water temp and looking in the correct areas. I think everybody's kind of, there's a myth that you have to fish the deepest holes to catch these fish, and right now we're fishing less than 2, maybe 2 feet at best. So that to me is like kind of a common myth. Yes, can you find fish schooled up in those deeper holes? Yeah, but if you're fishing from land like we are today, you might not always be able to access those holes. Like I know middle of this lake has a few good holes that hold some nice crappie, but you know, even with a surf rod I won't even be able to reach them from right here. Oh man, I got too excited on that one. Man, see, like they're pulling it down, but that bait's still pretty good. I'm still on number 1 for as many fish as we've caught, which I'm not really sure what we're at numbers wise yet, because I'm not really, like, see that guy freaking wanted it. I'd say we're probably double digits easily. And like fishing like this makes me really enjoy the seasons, because right now the wind, you couldn't tell from here because we're kind of sheltered with this background, but I couldn't be out on my boat or kayak. I mean, it's just, we would just get hammered. Oh, that's a nice one. Look at that, holy moly. Do you see this guy? That's what I'm talking about. That's the slab. That's the slab I was talking about. Holy smokes. Holy smokes, look at this, man. You remember the old school, I might be dating myself, Dreamcast or like Bass Pro? and depending on how big the fish was depending on how they lifted it up. That is an absolute slab though. Look at that. That's a pretty fish. See, in this one, I didn't bring a ruler with me, but that's definitely over 12. I would say anything over 12 is considered a slab in my book. I'm gonna get him in the water, give him a second to revive himself. There he goes, he's ready to go. That's a nice crappie. And he was sitting right on that timber. Man, gonna be tough to top that last fish. This lake's notorious for having some nice sized slabs, but you know, there's a lot more 8, 9, 10-inch fish around than there are those 12+ inchers. Oh, there we go. That's not a bad one. You could tell it's a nicer one just by the drag it pulls. Because I don't have this set super loose, but I have it loose enough. It's borderline keeper. Big thing, especially if you're fishing super light pound test line, you gotta adjust your drag. I know guys that fish like that death drag where it's like the fish can't even pull the line, which is great if you're fishing like 80, 90, 100 pound test. That's not gonna, you know, snap. But this line's so light that, you know, you could hit, oh, that's a fish. You can hit a rock with just enough pressure and it's gonna snap the line just because it's so light. Oh. All right, that's gonna be my last cast of the day. I could sit here all day catching these guys, but I gotta get home to the little one. She's about to wake up from her nap, and I might actually bring her here, get her on some crappie, honestly. At least we end the day with a fish. Look at that. That's pretty cool. Awesome little fish.